Think we're live.
We're live. Hello, hello. This is January 22nd. House calls. Ryan Dunstan, Chris Kamara down below with Cobalt Insurance. Um, we just as a quick disclosure, I know Chris has his own disclosures that he likes to go through, but as far as um, back office electrical internet issue, there's some outages at the moment in the area, not just Grass Valley, Nevada County, but I think
it's a Microsoft thing.
Yeah, Microsoft thing. So if I start to stall out on you, Chris will definitely be at the helm and be ready to answer all of your questions that you may have today. We're going over quite a bit of information. We are live, YouTube, Facebook. Chris, I know you went out to a lot of your socials too, right?
I did. Give me 1 second. I'm actually checking those are live. So bear
Okay.
with me just one moment here. You are live on YouTube. Live there. Let's see if my page is live as well. Cool. We're live in all of our areas. So we can take questions in any one of those platforms.
Okay. Yeah, if you do have a question, type it into the chat. We will field those immediately. If not, depending on the content we're going over, maybe we'll get back to it next week. But feel free to reach out to us. We're here for you. We know that everyone's got questions and everyone's shopping for insurance. Home is kind of the main topic right now. So I think what we were chatting about earlier was some of our topics for today's.
Let me forward this slide. So you already went over that. Sorry, a little lag on my part. And then
I didn't go over what we were talking about.
Well, let's leave the disclaimer up there just for a second.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Okay.
And then I'm jumping over, sorry, one more screen here to see questions. Okay. And then I can go over here to chat. Perfect. All right, so that's our regular disclaimer, and then today's agenda. I'll let you read that out.
Okay. Well, we got carrier assessments, what it is, how it happened, who's affecting, who we're seeing affected. So it's a fee that's being implemented. We can go over that a bit later on. Also, because it's the new year, we went and checked Fair Plan's assessments or data, because Fair Plan has been a lot more open about what it is that they're providing to you, whether it be key statistics of what they're covering, just more transparency like the Department of Insurance has asked them to be. So we've got some data and graphs and numbers, a lot of fun things that Chris likes to get into.
Today's slides are pretty nice. I'm kind of proud of myself. So.
Great slides, great information. And then we also have the E&S market. With the ever-changing market that we're in right now, there's a lot more excess and surplus lines carriers, or E&S, as we like to say in the business, that are coming back into the market and offering clients options right now. So want to kind of go over who those carriers are and where we've seen success with.
Cool. Moving to the next slide here. I'll take this one. So
okay.
No one likes to pay any fees, but there's a new fee coming, and I'll read this through because it makes a little bit more sense. So the Palisades and Eaton wildfires for adjusted costs is the most expensive U.S. wildfire event so far. And you can see it on this chart from Visual Capitalists that they got it from NOAA. But $65 billion last year is the total cost or estimated cost. I guess estimated because it's not all done yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's done, right? I mean, there's still continual payouts.
But it's estimated.
Yeah.
So the FAIR Plan got an approval from the California Department of Insurance, that's what CDI is, for a $1 billion loss assessment. And this assessment allows admitted carriers, so not excess and surplus carriers, to recoup some of those costs that they had to pay out. And what am I missing? I know I'm missing something here, Ryan. Help me out.
No, it's mainly because FAIR Plan is comprised of all the admitted carriers. So because
That's right. There you
Fair
go.
Plan gets all the money. They can then say, hey, all of the admitted carriers, you can do with it what you will. But we know that you guys took a hit because of having to give us money.
Yeah. The mechanism behind the California Fair Plan is pretty unique in that admitted carriers all pay into it and are responsible for losses from it to a degree. So this is, they tapped, I think it was middle of last year, where they tapped all the admitted carriers and said, hey, we need you to pay some money for this.
Yeah.
And the carriers, I think, had 30 or 60 days. I know we've talked about this, but it's been a while. I can't remember 6 months ago. But they had to make payments to that. And then now they're being allowed to recoup that fee from us, from the clients, from the people purchasing insurance. So that's the supplemental fee. And then the biggest question is, after that, is my insurance carrier charging this? And the answer is, yeah, very likely. It's not $5,000. I know I have that existence fee image. I thought it was kind of hilarious. But
Yeah.
it is a fee. It's being assessed to 19 right now of the top 20 carriers have filed to implement the fee. So it's not super significant. We're not talking hundreds of dollars. I think I've seen some like $10, $5, $20. I don't know how they distribute it, but there is an additional fee that's being charged on renewals.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you got something to add?
Nope. I was just going to say that. That's great. I mean, really, it's going to be basically a fee that I'm hoping that the agent's able to explain to you. If they're not, we can let you know that. That's kind of why we're on here today. But they're starting to come in. There's carriers that we're being, that we're appointed with, and they're notifying us of that temporary fee. So it'll be on your quote. It has to be disclosed. So if you go through your quote whenever you renew a carrier, it'll show on there an assessment fee.
Yep. And then moving to the next topic, I'll let you take this one. I've got the Fair Plan website pulled up for this as well.
So the Fair Plan data, I just really wanted to see, because of how much more transparency that they are at the moment, how much increase in use that they've been at the time. And it has been pretty marginal, but the last update was in September from what I remember. So it's about a 3-month increase in not only premiums, but more clients, more premium total. And then it actually has that key statistic breakdown per county, per actual zip code. So what your zip code is, you can see how many more clients and how many more policies that the Fair Plan is taking on, even since September. So I believe it's going to be updated now every quarter from.
That would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And with the recent changes in insurance, the goal is to get the Fair Plan to shrink as far as total exposure, number of policies in force, et cetera.
Right.
We're not seeing that. We'll show you in the next couple of slides that it's growing at a rapid pace. And I think we'll see some slowing, hopefully, by the end of the year, but I don't see that currently.
Yeah, if it's data that every carrier, every person can now see. So these carriers are seeing, they're almost going to be able to target now specific areas, because they can see how much influx premium that there is in that specific zip code.
So that quarter that you mentioned, September to December, shows a 4% increase in total policies in force, and 146% increase in September of 22. So 264 to 646 is significant.
Since 22, yeah.
Yep.
And I would say 22 was probably when Fair Plan, maybe even 20, I would say maybe the end of 21 is when Fair Plan was starting to be more heavily utilized. Obviously in 24 is whenever State Farm stopped. So I think that's why there was such that large increase from 24 to 25, because of more carriers that were moving out of state. But, incrementally from 25 with 3 months, it's at 4%. I wonder what that percentage is from 645 to 464.
22%, 28%,
22%,
28%,
23%. Yeah. And
roughly.
so 4% growth in a quarter, 4 times 4, that's 16%. So it's not even really on track to correlate
You're
more
saying
like
that,
it has been from the 24 to 25 term.
And then 23 to 24. 29%. So 29%, 28%. Yeah. So it's slowed a bit to 16%, you're saying? So maybe half as much growth?
Yeah. And I think that's probably due back to our next slide with the other carriers. But
it's a few slides in. Yes.
A lot of carriers are starting to come back in. And I think that, I mean, it's almost going to be visual if this is going to go out the way it does for next year in September.
Mm-hmm. All right. So next slide. So those are policies in force. This is total exposure in billions. So
I didn't see. Did we do an actual breakdown per county? I don't think we did.
No, we didn't. Oops. This still trends. So policies in force and premiums kind of mirror each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the next slide. Yeah. Oh, I can roll down. Sorry. I just learned how to do that.
That's cool. I think that's the reason why it's not trending as much this year is because there is the rise of E&S carriers, surplus lines carriers. So
it's definitely not admitted carriers taking more risk and writing more policies. The majority of that, if not all of it, is non-admitted carriers or excess and surplus carriers coming in and writing risks that are higher wildfire, have some type of claims history, for some reason doesn't fit the admitted market.
Yep. And a lot of people are saying like, oh, what's the catch? These premiums are so much more favorable. And that's when you got to disclose, they're non-admitted. There is inherent risk. There is that chance that they go insolvent or they start to lower their financial stability. And now you could be stuck holding the bill. So, I tell clients all the time, like with everything, there's a catch-22, but a lot of these companies, the Dellases, the Sachers, all of them listed, they're very financially stable, and you can check Demotech. Some of them are AM Best rated. You can check. I
don't remember the third one. We were talking about that.
It's a bond rating issue company.
Yeah.
What is it? I always want to say KMBR, but that's like a the call sign. KBRA. So KBRA is the bond rating where these companies have to go out and purchase bonds and reinsurance to back them.
Mm-hmm. And this right here is not a comprehensive list. This is only 6, 9,
I would say
11.
It's definitely like a tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's a lot of other companies like Farmers,
Heritage, Northlight. Yeah, there's a lot, and we don't usually name carriers in our podcast as much as other than the Fair Plan, but this one it's talked about so much. We wanted to provide some type of list, not a comprehensive one, but some type of list so that people could see who these carriers are.
Yeah, and who we're appointed with. I feel like us as independents. That's why the independent channel is so strong, because we're able to go out and get appointed with these carriers and help bring you solutions to your homeowners insurance and give you alternatives other than California Fair Plan.
Yeah.
But not every agent is equal, and not every agent can go out and get appointed with every single client.
Yep. And then on this list, to point out a couple of things, like Kin is a direct, right? Kin is no agent. You have to go directly to Kin to get a quote.
Oh shoot. Okay. Thanks, dude. Sorry, someone else.
No worries. I was saying Kin is direct. You've got to go direct to Kin. There's no agent part with Kin.
Okay.
And they're very, very picky. Orion entered the market on September 1st, so they've been around about 3.5 months now. And just like with any other E&S carrier, as they enter the market, they're super competitive, and then they hit either capacity or concentration, and they either increase rates for new quotes or they just close off zip codes.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that with several of the carriers that are on this list.
Oh, absolutely.
They will basically stop writing insurance because they see that there's so much business coming in and they're oversaturated. So, like, I think you recall one of your carriers, you were like, oh, they're writing again. It's like, a lot of times they don't tell us, hey, start writing here again. We gotta continually go into those markets and check. But a lot of these other companies too, they can put fees on, they can file for rates a lot quicker. So if you get a good rate, sometimes it is good to pounce on it, because in 3 months, 6 months, they can file for rate and it's not going to be the same whenever you go back. And I hate to sell on fear. I know Chris does as well. We just want to be transparent and just let you know that it could happen.
Absolutely. I'm going to back one thing. So we'll go back to this fair plan. So that CFPnet.com key statistics data, that's this. And that's where I got the screenshots for the policies in force and increased exposure. There's more than just those 2 slides here. And Ryan, you were talking about that. You can go by zip code and look up information. So there's a lot of information to dig into. This is the California Fair Plans website. It is available to everyone.
Yep.
We'll jump into one real quick. You want to do residential exposure by zip, right? That sounds about most people for homeowners.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a huge spreadsheet. Okay, so 95949
45.
So I'm just going to highlight this.
Broken down by year too, which is huge.
So for Grass Valley 95945, year-over-year growth is 34%. So it's higher than the trend. Total exposure for the Grass Valley zip code is $3.8 billion. And then you could see that trend again. So it went from 1.3 billion, increased 20%, increased 38%, increased 31%, increased 34%. So E&S didn't have that much of an effect for that zip code.
And just I don't know if it came through as clear, but that was B as in boy for a billion. So that correlates kind of to our first slide about the Palisades fire and the Eden fires. It was 60 billion with a B. There's a lot of pocket areas of our state that one large fire will be billions of disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you go back to these excess and surplus lines carriers, and you want to see how they're financially backed.
So I'm going to pull up, let me see if I can find one real quick.
Who's 96161? Is that Tahoe?
I don't know. Let me look.
I think it's Truckee, actually.
Truckee. You're right. Truckee.
Look at that. 9 billion. I mean, our area, Grass Valley, Nevada County in general, is probably one of the largest. There's five huge areas. So we're one of 5 large areas.
Look at the jump in the last 4 years, 5 years. 2.1 billion to 9.1 billion.
And this is just residential, because there is a separate one for commercial.
Correct. This is the residential link I clicked. That's correct. Give me just 2 more seconds here.
Yeah, you're fine.
So this is from 2024. And I'm just pulling up one as an example. So this is SageSure's financial stability overview.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows that they're A-rated, exceptional. They're rated by Demotech. They have reinsurance to cover. These are their reinsurer carriers, so insurance for insurance. And then they have that much in reinsurance, so $880 million in reinsurance.
Now, I mean, I know you're really good in with them with some with some trainings. It'd be great to get an updated one.
I just don't think I've downloaded it.
Okay.
People have stopped asking because more people are understanding where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything I've got is a year old now, so I have to download newer ones. But yeah, that's one way to look it up. AM Best, Demotech, or that other one, the Kroll Bond Rating Agency, right? That was what it is. Kroll.
KBRA.
I think it's Kroll Bond Rating Agency, if I remember correctly. I didn't remember the acronym, but
I'm on their site. I'm trying to see what their actual name is. It's just KBRA. But yeah, I believe it's Kroll. Kroll Bond Rating Agency.
yeah. This is just one of their locations, I guess, on Google ratings, but that's who's the agency that rates insurance agencies, or the not agency. What do you call that?
The which?
The company that rates insurance agencies. It's not an agency that rates an agency.
Oh, it's just I guess just another third party rating company. Like AM Best is probably one of the better ones.
More recognized, absolutely.
If anyone has questions, comments, concerns, and you own a home. Not only that, renter's insurance too. I feel like we haven't really kind of touched on that as well. There has been some movement with some renters companies and them wanting to start to write more in our area, where before it was a hard wildfire decline.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's good to know. I only had, I want to say 3 markets for renters insurance.
3 markets for condo in wildfire areas. So I'm happy to have those 2 markets, and the third is the Fair Plan. So, but I think that's the biggest struggle right now. Like even manufactured homes, there's now more carriers than there were before.
Yeah.
But condos, very, very difficult. Homeowner associations, very difficult still. So I just don't see any movement there. Well, we went through the slides pretty quick. I know we were rushing, hoping your internet holds out. So
yeah, it has this whole time, which has been really nice. I've really been excited about it. I might do another reboot, and hopefully that works. But anything at the office the past week that you've come across your desk, and you're like, oh, I want to make sure, like, this is an interesting story to bring up. I'm trying to think myself. I've had some savings to some of those E&S carriers.
We've gone over it in the past one, but we pushed out. You and I have gone over it in the last week's one about water shutoff.
Yeah,
and we pushed that out to our clients and prospects via our monthly newsletter, and that was pretty well received. I'm having good conversations with people about it. It's one of those things, and I absolutely had a friend. I'm trying to think who it was that told me they just had a water leak in Rockland, and now they're having to deal with that headache. And forget the money, the peace of mind, just dealing with being inconvenienced. Let's say you can't live in your house because now you have water damage. You got to rip out the floors and the walls and everything else, and the time that you have to deal with that. The risk reward between installing an automatic water shutoff is so much better than the alternative.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and getting the restoration contractor out there, how much extensive damage is it doing, because it does act quick. And it could set in and do a lot of damage. So what is it? I would say most shutoff valves, I was asking a few plumbers, normally are like $300, $300 to $500, depending on what type you get.
The cost isn't really the device. The cost is the labor to install, especially if the main doesn't have access to power. Then you need to run power out to there.
Mm-hmm. So the cost to install, and the device, you're thinking like
$1,000? Something around there, $1,000 to $1,700, depending on the difficulty.
It's like its own insurance policy, basically.
It's a one-time cost though, right?
Because water damage claims can be 20, 50, 100,000. Really depends on location, how long it sets in for.
I wrote a client 2 years ago with an E&S carrier. They had a water damage claim here in Rockland of 43,000, and it was double your average here. So let's say it was $3,600.
Right.
The renewal this year was $7,800.
Oh my gosh!
I shopped them last week to one of those E&S carriers, and the E&S carrier, we disclosed the loss, of course. The E&S carrier asked us for a letter of experience. We sent that over. 2 days later, underwriting cleared it, and we're writing them with this new E&S carrier, $3,600. So we saved a large increase. That's what we get to do for our clients. Without that, though, I mean, she's now been inconvenienced, one, by the actual loss, then the remediation, and then now paying so much more money for her insurance these last 3 years.
Wow. That's just mind-blowing.
I bet if I asked her if she'd go back in time and installed an automatic water shutoff, she'd be all for it. All for it.
Yeah, it's priceless, right?
I tell people all the time, the peace of mind you get from that, it's so much better than just thinking of the cost.
Yeah.
I know things are expensive. Don't get me wrong. It's just, that's one of those things. And if you're driving your car, you want to have good working tires. You want to have brakes that work.
Yeah.
It's kind of a no-brainer in my head for the homeowners insurance.
And it's not just the E&S carriers. I mean, there's other traditional carriers that are starting to implement it because they're wanting to put more of the risk aversion back on the client.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's the market that we're in. It's not to set it and forget it anymore. It's it's putting more context and more information in front of the insured and having.
I'm having more conversations about higher deductibles with clients, and they want to see, is it really worth it? There's a point of diminishing returns, right? So we generally quote $2,500 deductible, and one client their prior policy was $1,000 deductible, and I said, we could absolutely do that if you want. Here's the increase. And they're like, looking at the savings, like $180. And I said, are you ever going to file a claim for anything less than $2,500? And they're like, never. And I'm like, so is it really worth it to you?
Worth it? Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely more conversational with clients now versus give me the cheapest price, and then they don't care what the outcome is. It's not giving them the coverages they need.
Yeah. The value of the independent. Maybe we should change our name to that, or like superheroes in case,
Something. Your insurance Pathfinder's still there, so.
Yeah, they came up with that little lingo name for me in a little blurb too. I loved it.
Speaking of which, where are you presenting this week? You said you had a presentation to do?
Yeah, so I am on board to chat on Sunday with a nonprofit. They are basically getting in front of all of the Firewise communities as well and helping with funding and resources for our community. So they're going to have some IBHS information or the insurance for better home and safety out there. And then they're also going to have some other presentation about a wildfire resilient home and touring it, seeing what it looks like with the defensible space, the 0 to 5 zone, all of the basic, the sustainable insurance strategy kind of framework, because this home is built to that. It's still up in our county. It still looks beautiful. So we're going to do a tour of that. So that's what I'm chatting about.
And you're presenting in there?
I'm going to present an insurance piece. Yeah. They asked me to talk about IBHS stuff. And because I'm not a full IBHS agent or have access to their products, I was like, I can't really speak too much on that, but we're just going to go over what the IBHS Becoming Wildfire Prepared is, and how that can help benefit basically a homeowner from being more risk adverse and more wildfire, they're home hardened.
Cool. Yeah. Is that open to the public or is this a special event?
Yeah, it's open to the public. It's on Sunday at 1:00, and then we're going to do a house tour and everything. So
cool.
I could put a link in the description.
Great idea. You want to stick that in there now?
Yeah. Right now?
Well, I don't know. I was going to pin it up to our presentation. We can do it afterwards. We'll put it.
People do it afterwards because I don't know exactly where it's at.
No worries.
Where the link is, at least.
Cool. Well, I'm so sorry. I have a hard cutoff, and we're at 2:31. So
okay. I'll see you tonight, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to plug? You want to plug real quick, or you have time?
Not at all. I gotta go. I'm so sorry. I have a hard cutoff.
All right. We'll see you later.
You want to end the stream?
Yep.